Hey, welcome to the Architect's Edge Live. Kind of. We're doing a special thing this month, and also we're accompanied by the absolute master, Iwan, out of Singapore, which you'll notice, wow,
Thank
we're doing
you.
this at a weird time, but that's okay because this is live recorded for you guys. And if you're catching on YouTube, definitely go hit that like and subscribe. If you're catching this on LinkedIn, also like and share. But either way, I'm your host, Christopher Cusick, and we're just going to get right into the meat of this. And I'm going to introduce you to Ewan, who's going to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think it's a pleasure to be here and to share this wonderful work by its amazing TAM in Turkey's Onur, right? And I got to know him about 2 years ago from Fagis, another champion of Ops TAM, the principal TAM in Dubai, right? So I'm Iwan. I'm part of the product team. So I'm in the kitchen, right? Working on the next releases. Super excited about what is coming, and been VMware for coming to 18 years now. Pretty much the ops specialist. I'm the domain architect in the product management team, working very closely with PMs on a daily basis, with PMs, with UX, and with engineering. And today, Chris, we are sharing the hard work of a young TAM in Turkey. And I'm honored to give an introduction. And I think, Chris, the best is like this is an introduction and explaining the context, how it benefits the
Hmm.
community, right? And then on your next sessions, it is where Onur can go deep dive into the code, into how, the, let's say, vExpert, the VMUG leaders, etc. You want to contribute and customize these things for your partners, I mean, for your customers or for your own environment.
Absolutely. This is definitely the intro to these power tools to help empower
Yes,
your environment, right?
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So
Yeah,
you want
so
to
I'm,
ready to jump into it, right?
yeah, so I mean, at the context to it, right? So our largest customers, right, including our own Broadcom IT, we run thousands of ESXi, I think 150,000 VMs internally, very large environment. So there's a lot. Typically, there's a lot of system, a lot of customization, and you want to monitor up, guest operating system, application, and down, the physical hardware, whether it's Dell iDRAC, whether it is Cisco switches, whether it is or even your rack, etc. So you want to extend this monitoring beyond VMware, right? And
Hmm.
that's it's very typical in our customers' environment. And what I've seen like in the last 18 years as a VMware employee is customers do a lot of PowerShell, or they write some scripts, right? Or they write,
Buy a lot of tools. I got a SolarWinds here, an extra hop there. I've got
yeah,
What's Up
orchestrate.
Gold, a thousand tools to try to do all
Correct.
the things in addition to what operations is doing, basically, right?
Correct. And then they have let's say they have what do you call it? They have their own web servers, and then they may be
Hmm.
using Grafana, right? And so they write a lot of things. They customize all these things, right? So for many years, now that we are moving to private cloud, right? So as a VMware the champion, or as a VMware administrator, as a VMware architect, you want to take your creations beyond vSphere and into the whole private cloud, right? And so as a result, you need to change the API instead of targeting the vCenter API, right? Which is gonna get you just basically vSphere, right? And you want to get into the vCenter API, you want to get into the NSX API, you want to get into VCF automation, and that is essentially what we do with VCF in VCF operations, especially, right? So that becomes the new
Hmm.
gateway, right? And so one API, and you get everything basically, one API, right? And now the challenge of that 1.5 years ago, I mean, of course, you need to learn a new framework, a new API, right? So when
Hmm.
Fagis introduced Onur to me, and this young Tam is willing to spearhead and burn the midnight oil, right? And working closely with the assistants of engineering, in the US, Mark, Chuck, right? And from the Blumedora team, and then that wrote the SDK, right? So they guided
Mm-hmm.
all over. And then we got Robert Mesopran from UK guiding him on the API. So he built this management pack, right? That wrap around the SDK.
So like a
So that
management pack to rule them all that leverages the full API and extends it and uses that
yes.
SDK without making you do all the SDK heavy lifting.
So in a sense, as a customer, right? So why not I just jump into a demo right now,
Yeah, let's do that.
right? I'll show it to you. So with this management pack that he has developed, you can see my screen here, right?
I can see your screen. I'm gonna make sure it's spotlighted as well. I'm gonna There we go. Absolutely. We can definitely see it.
Right.
Yes, it looks perfect.
Yeah. So with this management pack, and by the way, later, I mean, I think the best is to have Onur to talk about the source codes, which is available in
Mm-hmm.
GitHub. So this is the key point. Our largest customers, our largest partners, you want to customize this thing because your environment is unique, because your process is unique, right? You have it, right? What Onur has done is he has, together with the help of engineering, he has lowered the barrier. You can take this thing as an example of that you can customize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so it's this so this is the management pack, right? So he has developed it here, right? And it comes with like he has example result here. Like in here, he just pull up the DRS score, for example, right? So you can see
Mm-hmm.
the source code. You want to pull something else, it's fairly easy now. You don't have to know, in a sense, the details of the underlying SDK, right? You take his work and you can either fork it or you can contribute working with him. You can be in the same project, be guided by him and other people such as Scott Bowie, who has been involved in the development of this MP, right?
So,
So
I mean, and there's a lot of different object types, right? Like cluster compute resource, host systems, virtual machines, and stuff like that, right? So there's a
yeah,
lot of extensions on how this is supporting the rest of the infrastructure.
yeah, I think what we can do also, maybe I just show it inside here, right? And not just that, right? What he has done, give an example here. As you know, in ESXi has like thousands of advanced settings,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and you want to pull one advanced setting on ESXi, and then you need to know, oh, so where is the key for that? I got to go to
Mm-hmm.
the vCenter and object browser. I go and find it. It's kind of like difficult. What he has done, that 1,000 of them is all here.
Wow. That's
Right. And I
massive.
think the wonderful thing is Brock Peterson, which you know well, he has written an extensive blog on how to actually use this thing. And essentially it involves a step of cloning this file, right? And the reason for the cloning is because the management pack, when it gets updated, it is going to override your changes. So you got to clone it to be safe. But you no longer, it's literally just copy this line, right? You no longer needs to know where in the API, right? So yeah, so a couple of things what he has done. Okay,
Yeah, and
all these,
Brock
yeah,
Peterson at brockpeterson.com has 3 blog posts on the vCommunity Management Pack alone. So we'll
yeah,
drop those in the resources. You guys can go check those out as well.
correct. So now Dale has in fact built a dashboard for it, right?
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah.
leveraging this new metrics, right? Like all these Windows events, Windows services, right? So he has leveraged that and built such that dashboard. Yeah. So a couple
Absolutely.
of things. Yeah, so the context here, just to recap the context, and of course, because this thing is the management pack, right? So let me just show it to you. Repository. This is the one,
There it
right?
is.
The
Yep.
content, right? You talk about the content. Yeah. So all those dashboard, 44 of them, just boom, just go
Man,
inside, right?
That
And
169 views has me floored because views are
correct,
enough of a pain to, but the fact that all that work is done for you and then it's represented in these ways, this is
correct,
massive. Absolutely.
correct. So
37 supermetrics? Wow.
yeah. So what happens here is, yeah, it's a lot of the super matrix that is imported inside here, right? And the dashboard. Let me just touch base a little bit about like report. This is a report. This is a reports
Yeah.
templates. So it's all in. So you guys. I think there are two type of consumption the way I see it here. Like
Hmm.
majority of customers and partners are just going to use it as it is,
Hmm.
right? So when you use it as it is, you get all this dashboard, all this report, all this super matrix, bang out of the box, right? And then you can easily uh, customize what additional thing that you want to monitor, right? You want to monitor just now a specific Windows service, a specific Windows event. Just go and follow Brock's block, right? And then
Hmm.
just clone the
And it's
file.
evolving every day because I see the chatter talking about ways they're
Oh
expanding and
yeah,
extending the power of this management pack.
correct, correct. I think it's like I saw Scott Bowie, right? That I had a
Hmm.
call with him just a couple days ago, and he wants. I mean, he's extending all this thing, right? And like Thomas Compton, as you probably know from
Yes,
from
yes,
from
I'm pretty
Europe,
solid.
right? From Europe, so he is writing something completely different for security purpose, right? So this is the point, like by shielding the underlying SDK. Now all you can copy, you can fork, you can clone this MP and then do your stuff.
Hmm.
Or you can work with Onur and do your work in Onur's MP.
Yeah, because it
This thing
becomes
is
your
that
own management pack once you load in your environment as a partner, as a customer, as you're,
correct.
supporting your own environment.
Correct. Now,
This extends operations to your virtual infrastructure and beyond.
correct. Now, obviously, if you just want to do one or two, a few simple things, MP Builder is the fastest way of doing it, right? This is like an advanced
If you're doing
option,
that
right?
true no code, low code, simple MP builder type of actions, absolutely.
Exactly. So this is not for that low code, no code. This is for those advanced
Mhm.
customers and partners, right? That you want to take it up to the next level, and because you used to be or you are still writing,
I
very
I will say
heavy.
though, what I like about it though is rather than having to go again build your own, is because it's growing and evolving and extending so quickly. By you build, oh, I'd like something like this, and someone just goes because it's vCommunity, it's all about the community.
Yeah,
Someone goes and adds that functionality to where it's like, oh, and then everybody grows and benefits from that. So,
correct,
so it's kind of like either you build it or ask for it, and then someone's like, wow, yeah, actually, I would love that also, and then it'll
correct,
evolve and iterate within the community, like flings on power, because the
correct.
way the flings used to be, but they're always ad hoc and one off. Whereas this
Yeah,
is truly integrated into the infrastructure and into, your monitoring platform for your whole VCF footprint. Hey, GitHub.
correct. Yeah, like what you say, right? You can contribute here. You can have a discussions here, right? You can raise a feature request here. I see like, well, there's about like 30 stars here, right? That people are contributing to it, right? So yeah, yeah. So that is the whole intent is to have this community, through VMUG, through vExpert, through VCP,
Hmm.
VCDX, right? And start building it here towards this private cloud, right? And the reason for I'm saying that, so it's in the past, before this private cloud era, right? The VMware admin, the VMware architect, you either do PowerShell, right? PowerCLI, and then you have Grafana, and then you have your own database, and then you use orchestrator, you use a
Hmm.
vCenter orchestrator, right? So all I'm saying now with this private cloud, because VCF operation, VCF automation becomes the face of it, you write your extension on top of this too. Because take the case VCF operation, it comes with its own database, it's got its own presentation layers, it's got its own reporting, it comes with its own alerting. So you don't have to build another system outside. You just build it here.
Yeah, I mean, best of all, you'll notice a lot of the contributors are the people whose blogs you go to look at to do these things anyway in the VMware
Yeah,
ecosystem. So it's you're literally getting, their efforts be extended out here to support, you and the
yeah,
community, customer partner, whatever hat you may be filling. This is something that's going to definitely empower you.
correct. And then I think one little thing that I wanna just end it here, and then we can well, I guess we can have Q&A, etc. So one of the thing is about this uh, critical application. So
Mm.
in customers environment, so let's say you have 100,000 VMs. Now, not all VMs are equal. And there are VMs that are revenue generating. There are VMs that are representing your brand. For example, if you are banks, your private banking typically is on VMware.
Hmm.
If you are an airlines, your website, your ticketing systems are typically on VMware. If you are manufacturing, your shop floor controls are typically on VMware, right? So these are critical applications. They may be like 1% of the whole environment, right? So out of 100,000 VMs, maybe let's say 1,000 or 2,000 VMs that are
Mm.
critical, they're very dear to your heart, right? And so you want to make sure that the infrastructure, because the shared infrastructure is not causing the problem because you own the infrastructure. Okay,
Hmm.
let's say you have like, well, in this example, well, maybe if I do this right, this is an example, like this, right? So it'd be nice to create a dashboard that says this is my business critical application that are running on my shared private cloud, and I'll be able to color code the thing. I'll be able to see, if it is not green, I want to click and I want to see the details, and I want to see whether it is any of the components of infrastructure of any of the VMs or even any of the Kubernetes that I look after are contributing to the performance. I want to be proactive to it, right? And you can actually do that in ops, right? That you can build the folder structure in vCenter that mimic your organization, so that the VMs here belongs to an app tier, belong to an application, belong to a department. But you can structure that, and after that, you can then in ops, right? You can create this object. You can create this object, and like this is the enterprise application. You use the business application features of VCF Operations, right? And then after that, you can then do something like this, right? So like this is the business application, right? So just let me share, right? So if I take, for example, this, right? And I can then see what make up this particular business application. Okay, so this is called the support portal application. Abhijit actually set this up. And this particular example here is a support portal. Oh, I can see my NSX, I can see my VCF operation, I can see my vCenter, I can see my network operation, I can see my SDDC manager, I can see my lifecycle manager, I can see my log, right? So I
Hmm.
can see that. And if I click my NSX here, right, and I can see the various edges and various NSX management that make up to it, right? And then if I click any of this thing, right, then I can see if there is any services that's running inside there, right? And let's just click this. I don't know why it's not responding there. There you go,
There.
right?
Yeah.
So like, see, I click this operation, right? And I can see all my, in this case, my VCF operations. I can see my collector, I can see my data node, right? And I can see the various services running inside here, right? And I can see how my collector, etc., is doing. Okay, this is
Hmm.
purely from performance standpoint, not from capacity standpoint, right? So it's a very convenient way of doing it, right? And you talked earlier about the supermatrix, right? So all this thing is developed on supermatrix, which again you can customize. All this thing is color coded, right? You can set your threshold, right? And although there is no reason for that, and then all these business application, after you set them up, right? Like in this example, after you set them up, It's now this one,
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
Okay, this one. You can see this. So after you set them up, okay, in order to see the drawback of icons like this thing is showing the value right now. So what happened the value 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago? What
Mm-hmm.
what if you want to see a pattern? Okay, because it may go up and down. Because it may be fine right now, but what about 5 minutes ago, right? So that is where you have a trend chart like this. So this is simply, so instead of showing boxes, I decided to show a trend chart so that you can see that there is a dip inside here, right? And then this thing is simply the average of all this thing, right? So, and all these things, right? The supermetrics we talked about earlier, they are here. There are supermetrics here, right? And just now we talk about, let's say, application. There you go, right? So the business application is simply the average of all the business application, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the business application is the highest, okay, of Kubernetes and of this thing. And then the tier, it gets into the VM. If you want to see the VM, I'll show it to you. So if I do this,
And you
so
make it
what
real
is
easy as these is like they're working and operating, but they're also templates to where, hey, I want critical business critical application for this team performance that they tweak to not be average, but instead like peak or other attributes that they're
correct?
able to control at that point.
Correct. And two things. So like this kind of thing is already written for you,
That's a
so that
formula.
you don't have to. It's
I
going
don't
to
want to
save
write
you
that if I
money.
don't have to.
Yeah. So it save a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
And for you to do that. And not as that. Notice this thing. This thing is using the 20-second peak metrics,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's also going inside the guest OS. It's not just at the VM layers. So you can know, because sometimes performance problem is not caused by the underlying infrastructure, but by inside the gas, either the CPU or context switching, or there is a queue inside the disk, right, inside the gas OS.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that is basically in summary, right? What the great work that Onur has done. I think the best is to have the man himself, ideally with Broadcom's GTO's engineer Fasil. They
Mm-hmm.
can share real world implementation, give an actual practitioner's perspective, I would say.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
And I think,
And understandably, I mean, we're talking with Ewan right now, who's in Singapore. So that's a different time zone. And when we wanted to try to line up with Onur at the same time, but he's in Turkey, also a different time. And so we're trying to that's why we want to make it something that's available for you guys as an audience to try to catch it live, to ask your great questions, but also to be able to hey, it's a recording and make not have owner be up in the middle of the night to go and present and show stuff to you guys. Are there any other special pieces of the platform itself? Any requirements or last kind of pieces that you would want to share with our audience?
yeah, so I think the last discussion, Honor, Brock, and Scott Bowie, they want to bring it, they want to release it for the 8.18. This is right now is only 9.0,
Right now it's for
right?
VCF 9, which is to say
Yeah,
vSphere
VCF
9 and Operations 9.
9, correct,
Yeah.
right? So we will have to do
But they want
something
to
to
backdate it to make it support and work inside of the
on
8.18 release
8.18.
cloud,
We
right?
have to see what are the changes needed. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not vSphere 9, right? Because it's VCF 9, which is Operations 9, VCF Operations 9. So it works in that, but you can still have vSphere 8 that'll be working inside
Oh
there.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
absolutely fine.
But
Yeah,
818, I guess
correct,
ARIA Operations 818 is that.
correct,
Yeah, they're
correct,
working on trying to get it supported for that version, but today it's only supported on VCF Operations 9. Yeah.
correct, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think more and more things are coming. And I know Thomas Carpton, I know Scott Bowie, right, and Dale. They're working on this thing, like what you say in the community. Okay, and I think I would call it the floodgate has been opened, so that
Mm-hmm.
the 1.5 years of work with engineering, with Mark, with Chuck and Robert, to guide Onur, right, to wrap
Hmm.
around this the SDK
That
because it's quite low
that's been the
level stuff.
power on this is it's the community has gotten behind it and backing this and investing their time and effort to make it better. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's massive. But for anyone who remembers, the Blue Medora days, it's like, man, this rings like the true visibility suite. And it's like, yeah, it's like all those guys who were Blue Medora and True Visibility are now rebirthing and making this available for, the VCF of today, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and I guess the difference now this is on GitHub, right?
Yeah.
And you can see the source code, right? And I think what my take on it is the evolution of the career of the VMware admin. I'm 53
Hmm.
years old now. When I started VMware 18 years ago, my customers were young, right? The partners were young, and then now
We've
we
all
are
gotten a
much
little older.
older, right? And but how do we then take this up to the next level, right? And
Hmm.
because now the stake is higher, now it's about private cloud, right? And it's so I think having more powerful platform for you to in a sense realize your private cloud, I think is about time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, this has been absolutely great.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it here. And if there's any questions, drop them down in the Q&A, where we're gonna be moderating and trying to, type responses to that. And if you're catching this on YouTube, use the comments field and ask your questions on there, and we'll let you know. It'll be available in my newsletter, letting you know when we can actually line up Onur and the others in order to try to do this as a live session. But and we'll be back on Zoom in the new year, but this
I
was a
think
special thing we're
I think
trying for
yeah.
this.
I think Turkey is I think is like 6 hours behind Singapore. So now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, Turkey.
It's still tomorrow for me, I think. Either way, we'll
Yeah,
make sure it's accommodating and it's gonna be good.
yeah,
No, but we appreciate you guys, hanging out here and checking this stuff out with us. And we'll
yeah.
try to answer as many of your questions, and we'll also feed this stuff back into my monthly Architect's Edge newsletter. So check it out there on LinkedIn, and thank you guys so much for attending.
Thank you.
Where's that stuff there?